Hello and welcome to another Denis Wick Get to Know interview. And it's great to be doing this interview with Phil Green. So thank you very much, Phil, for taking part in this interview.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to it for a week.
Excellent. I wondered if we could talk a little bit about what works for you in terms of combination. So whether we're talking E flat bass and the standard thing. Most people, if they're playing in a brass band, they're going to be on a Yamaha or a Besson or possibly a Geneva. There's not many options really. That's the point. But how does the mouthpiece affect that, and how does it work for you?
When I went on to E flat bass, I just based it E flat tuba. I had the mouthpiece that came with the tuba that I bought, and that was a 24W. Not the 24AW, it's 24W, which is the same width rim, but nowhere near as deep. And that was a great beginner's mouthpiece for me because it felt comfortable, and I didn't need the massive control that you do need on a really deep mouthpiece. And then as I got more into it, everybody says, oh no, you want either a 2L, everybody plays a 2L or a 24AW. Now I always thought that they were interchangeable, but I think I'm right in saying now that the 3L and the 24AW are very similar in size, and the 2 is closer to the 18, Vincent Bach 18. So I'd played with Sovereign, I played with Desford, and then I went to what was Britannia Building Society band with Howard Snell, and I went on B-flat tuba. And I was sitting next to a guy called D. Morley, who, if you're a tuba player, you'll know Dino. And he played on, I think, a Vincent Bach 7, which was basically like a waste paper basket, in your mouth. But he just got this incredible low range, high range sound. I couldn't do that, so I tried a Vincent Bach 18, which seemed to work at the time, and we sort of balanced. But another famous tuba player, Derek Jackson, played probably at Fairies, maybe with yourself at the time. And he was, I went up to him and I said, look, Derek, I've just moved on to B-flat bass, and this is the mouthpiece I've got. What do you play? He says, don't matter what I play. He says, I'll give you one piece of advice. He says, play on the smallest mouthpiece you can that does everything you need to do. And if you can't do it, move down one. See whether it's better or worse. And if it's better, stick on it. If it's worse, go back. So I ended up playing on quite a small B-flat bass mouthpiece after that. And I've used the same, and I've interchanged between a 3L and a 24AW. Mainly because playing in a brass band, we're all on the same instruments. You need to blend. And because a lot of the other players play on a 3 or a 24 or a 2, you need to try and make a similar noise. But what I have learned is that a lot of it's in your head, and it's what you like your sound to be like. Because at one point with the quintet, I had 5 tubas and 5 mouthpieces. So I had 25 different combinations. And I made the other 4 guys sit and listen to me play a solo, badineri, bum, 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 bum. I played that on every single mouthpiece with every single tuba combination. And at the end of the day, they said, can't tell a difference. Which did you prefer? And I said, I preferred that one and that one. And they said, well, it sounded great. So if the sound that comes, what we hear in our ears isn't necessarily what comes out the bell, because there's all the vibrations and everything. So if you like the sound that you make with that mouthpiece, that's great. The person at the back of the hall, when you're in a brass band or in an orchestra with a great brass, isn't going to be able to tell. It's whether you feel good, whether you are splitting it, whether you are fluffing it, whether you can hear a lot of valve noise going through, whether you can hear a lot of tongue noise coming through. You can hear it amplified in your head. So that's what I've always done. I've always said, well, what's the combination that with this tuba makes me have the sound that I want? And I thought you might ask me about, sounds and who I really like and that kind of thing. And I've got 2 sounds in my head that I try and get. One is Sam Palafian, Empire Brass. Played on a rotary double C. And the other guy, you probably will have heard, is a guy called John Sass. again, a fantastic tuba player, plays on a piston valve C. And they've just got this core to their sound that a lot of players don't have. You know, I grew up as well listening to Canadian brass and Chuck Dallenbach. He's a fantastic player, and I would never say anything bad against him, but he's got a different sound that isn't the sound that my head says I should be aiming for. Do you know what I mean? And you know, we'll go on to this mouthpiece, I'm sure, at some point in the conversation, if I ever shut up. But the mouthpiece that I'm playing at the moment, which is this new AT mouthpiece, just gives me the sound that I want to make. And people have said, yeah, it sounds great. Couldn't really tell whether it was that one or that one or that one, but actually you're splitting less, your production sounds cleaner, and if it's the sound you like, stick with it. And so I have done it, and I've you know, since you kindly sent it to me to try, it's been the only mouthpiece I've played.
That's brilliant. And so we should be specific in terms of talking about which one. So this is the Aaron Tyndall Ultra mouthpiece by Denis Wick. Yes. And which number is it that you're actually playing? So you're using that one number, but using it for all these various ensembles. It works for you. Yeah. It's a 4. Now, you might remember the very first conversation that when we started talking about mouthpieces, and you said, I'd like you to try this one. It's different. So being a tuba player, and you know, I think typical tuba players, first thing went on the internet, what's the spec? So, you're right, it's wider than I'm used to playing. It's got a different size Geeb style bowl mouthpiece, which I've only ever played on the, you know, the normal the V-shaped or funnel-shaped mouthpieces before. And it's got a smaller throat. I honestly thought, you won't try to mind me saying this, when it got here, I was going to open it, put it in, go, it's lovely, but, you know, can you send me a 3 instead? But actually, if you can get over the fact that the numbers are slightly different to the other mouthpieces that you might have played before, and try it, the combination, I don't know what Era did, but the combination of the bowl, because I don't know whether you can see, but there's sort of a line halfway down, so it goes down straight and then in, and you can actually feel on the inside of the mouthpiece where that bowl starts rather than going straight from the top. So the combination of that, slightly smaller, I mean, I think it's sort of 0.03 of a millimeter. It looks different, you know, you can say, oh, that was a hole, that one's smaller. But the combination of the rim, the Warren-Deck rim, the Geeb bowl, and the throat, it just works. And I genuinely thought I'd be sending it you back. But as I played it, and it works a treat. It works a treat. It works in the band. What I do find is I don't have to work so hard. And I think that's probably because the throat's a bit smaller, but I'm still getting the volume at the other end. You know, the tuba amplifies the sound, doesn't it? I'm still getting the same volume at the end, but I'm not hearing in my head as much tongue noise. I'm not hearing the start of the note is as clear as I want it to be. And that's something I've struggled with for the last probably 5 or 6 years, to be honest. And I don't know whether that's just as you get older, you know, you maybe lose control or something. I'm pretty fit playing one, not anywhere else, but playing wise, I'm pretty fit. You know, I'm playing 3 nights a week, 2 hours at a time, plus concerts and stuff. And so I don't think I was necessarily, not match fit. I think this mouthpiece just works better for me. And my tuba, it's a hand-built one that a guy called Mark Carter, who is Mr. Tuba in South Wales, he built. I was looking, that's when I had all 5. I had 5 to try, including I'd had a Miraphone Starlight, I'd had a Miraphone Norwegian Star, I'd had a B&S 5145 or something like that. And
and also I've got these piston valves as well. So it's very much like a Sovereign, the Besson Sovereign tubers, but not quite. It's got the pipe raised a little bit different. The valves are a little bit further away. I was involved in the design for the Courtois I think it's 181. So it's very similar to that, as in pipe wise and valve wise. So perhaps the way I hold it works as well. I'm sort of the mouthpiece fits better. I don't know what it is, but as I say, if I'd have just looked at the specs, and if people are going online and just looking at the specs of these mouthpieces and saying, "Oh, well, that's so far away from what I normally play," then I think you're missing a trick. You've got to have a go on them.
That's fabulous, and what a wonderful way to end an interview with that amazing advert. So, thank you very much for your time, Phil. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure we'll be meeting up very soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and all the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.